This extended interview with InMyMMAopinion.com and at InMyMMAopinion is brought to you by Atlantic Remodeling. They can be reached at 188-RED-CENT. That's Atlantic Remodeling at 188-RED-CENT. This is Tim for InMyMMAopinion.com. And on Twitter, you can find me at InMyMMAopinion. This is our first ever extended interview. And who we have for you is John Rallo, owner/promoter of Shogun Fights. It's a regional promotion out of Baltimore, Maryland. Actually, a pretty big promotion. I like to compare it to a pre-Zuffa strike force, where they started out actually the Baltimore Arena holds about 14,000 people. They could draw anywhere between 5,000 and 7,000. So this isn't some back alley promotion. You know, it's a pretty top-notch organization where they're drawing a good bit of fans. John gave us an extended interview, got into some behind-the-scenes things on what it takes to run a promotion of that size. The UFC's actually never been to Maryland or Baltimore, so he kind of got into that on why they've never been here. TV deals, how that kind of works for a regional show. There's actually a card this Saturday, October 20th, at the Baltimore Arena. Frankie Lester, former UFC fighter, is the main event, and John gave us a full rundown of the card. Renzo Gracie will actually be making an appearance along with Cowboy Cerrone of the UFC. So John gave us a good bit of time, and actually he'd also like me to get out there that there's a cat and dog food/toy drive. If you could bring something down, if you're coming in for the fights, they'd appreciate it, and they'll gladly take that from you. And like I said, he gave us a good bit of time, touched on a lot of different things, you know, mostly behind the scenes and just what it takes to run a promotion of that size. So this is our first one. Bear with me on the sound. I apologize in advance. Give it a shot, try it out, and hopefully you'll come back for another one. Thanks. First, I want to thank you actually on behalf of the Maryland MMA fans because you know actually you played the biggest role in getting this sport sanctioned in Maryland. How's the city of Baltimore and the state embrace Shogun Fights?
I mean, I think it's been great, honestly. You know, when I love it to grow even bigger, you know, for sure. You know, I try all the time to make it bigger. But, you know, if you compare what we're doing here, you know, Shogun Fights is really a regional show. You know, we showcase fighters in the Mid-Atlantic region. And for us to do the attendance numbers that we do is ridiculous. You know, if you were to compare us to some of the other shows that are out there that are, you know, that are doing, you know, shows in Pennsylvania and Virginia, in DC, you know, we're pulling 2 and 3 times the fans that a lot of these shows are pulling. So, you know, for us to do a regional show and be able to have as many people as we come, I think speaks volumes of, you know, the city, the state, and their support for mixed martial arts.
Actually, I'm glad you said that because I think who you guys best compared to is probably a pre-Zuffa strike force. You know.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you look, like, I've been to Bellator. I've had several guys fight on Bellator. Got like 9 guys from Shogun fight on Bellator, and they're lucky to get 1,000 people to turn out to a show. If it wasn't for TV money, they'd make no money. You know, and I'm not hating on Bellator. But, you know, we're not doing shows every week like they are either. But, you know, I'm trying to do something a little bit different. You know, I want people to come and the fans to have an experience. So I'd like for the show to be an event. You know, we're only really doing 2 big ones a year here. So, for me, it's almost like I keep it limited. That way the ticket kind of is a special ticket. People look forward to them. I'm not beating my sponsors up, doing a show every other day. These guys will be looking and say, oh, my God, he's calling for money again. So, we try to make it an event, and we try to, make it a whole night out, from the VIP party to the fights, to the music and everything that we have, to the quality of the fights, to the quality of our ring card girls. I mean, Leah and Crystal are both gorgeous. And, it's, then the after party afterwards at, the power plant at Mosaic. So I think that, we give people a solid Saturday. You can X that off on your calendar and know you can come have fun, and have a few drinks and go to the club afterwards and kind of have your whole day taken care of.
Gotcha. You guys you've turned fighters and seen fighters promoted to UFC and Bellator, like you said. How do you guys go about finding the talent that you guys have at Shogun?
It's a little bit of a team effort. Now that the show is big enough, the guys call us. We have people all the time asking to get on the show. As I get guys that are on the card and the guys are impressive, you obviously try to build relationships with their schools. If they have one quality guy, chances are there's 2, 3, 4 quality guys, behind them. So, basically we look at the athletes. We have guys that fight on an amateur level. So, we're always out, seeing other amateurs fighting. Brian Hampert, who helps me make my matches. Brian's a guy who's out there, looking at fighters. He's at the amateur shows. He's at other pro shows. So, he gets to see a lot of that stuff. And a good part of it is based on school and reputation. If I have some guys that are going to come from, say like Mike Moses has a couple guys on the card from Evolve Academy. I've known Mike since I was a white belt. The first gi tournament, big real gi tournament, the East Coast Championships that I won, Mike was at Yamasaki and Mario ran that tournament. So I've known these guys since the 90s. I know that, Mike's actually a Lloyd Irvin affiliate now. But, somebody coming from Lloyd's, somebody coming from Mike's, somebody coming from Mario's, just like if they know if somebody's coming from our school, the guy's going to be, prepared and ready to fight, Sometimes when you go to these, smaller schools you never heard of, you can see the guy's out there and he's in over his head. So, I try as much as possible, to bring, quality guys here because we want quality fights. If the fans see guys out there that is looking sloppy like a bar room, maybe they don't come back.
Gotcha. Now, like you just said, you've been in the business for a long time, fighter, trainer. Now you're a promoter. You've seen all promotions from top to bottom. Is there something that you saw that you said, if I ever run a promotion, that's not going to happen?
A lot of things. The promotion that we run here is, in my opinion, I think second to nobody but the UFC. And I've heard this from the fighters. I've heard it from the coaches. I've heard it from the athletic commission people that come here. I mean, refs like, Big Dan, Kevin Mulholland, Mario Yamasaki, Keith, and I can't remember Keith's last name. All these guys you see on TV, what a pay-per-view's on, reffing in the UFC. So they've seen them all. And when they come to our show and tell me that the production value is the same, obviously I take that as a huge compliment. When Nick Lembo, who wrote the Unified Rules, he's the Attorney General for the New Jersey Athletic Control Board, when he comes here and tells me, man, this is incredible, it's like a Vegas level production, obviously that kind of stuff's flattering. But for me, like you said, I coached, I've fought, I'm a fan, so I've sat in all those seats at each show, and I try to change up, the things that I didn't like. We try to make sure you have good sight lines to our screens. I try to make sure that the ring isn't super cluttered, so when the guys hit the floor, people in the seats can actually see. But a lot of what it is behind the scenes stuff. The programs that we put out. If you go to a lot of these shows, you get a piece of paper, with the guys' names printed on them. We put out a 64-page program that's on the level of a program you would get in an Oriole or a Ravens game, and we hand them out to people for free, so that our sponsors' information gets in people's hands for free. The weigh-ins, at the weigh-ins, we have water and fruit and everything available, so that once these guys weigh in, they can grab something, drink something. They don't have to run right out of there because they're busy getting licensed. They're still doing physicals, so I know they're going to be in that room for a minute. So if somebody doesn't have food or they're waiting to weigh in so they can run and eat, this gives them the opportunity to eat something healthy and start to rehydrate and everything before they leave the room. We put closed circuit TV in the back so that the two locker rooms have visibility and can see what's going on outside, so you don't have to keep having a guy run back and forth saying, oh, the fight's over, hurry up, get ready. It gives you the opportunity as a fighter in the back to be ready. We put buckets in the back for the guys in case they forget them. There's water and fruit in the locker rooms on the night of the fight. We make sure they have workout and warm-up areas where I've been to shows, and there is one mat is your warm-up area. Our locker room, sometimes you have guys that are in the behind a curtain somewhere. We're hooked up with First Mariner Arena, so, we have team locker rooms, in the back, like when the hockey team is here. So while these guys, we split red corner, blue corner into two different locker rooms, those locker rooms are large, with areas for everybody to sit, hangers for everybody's stuff. So it's almost like they're in a team locker room where they have a little bit more room to maneuver and move around. All those kind of things, the music, that we make sure is playing in between the fights and all that kind of stuff to keep the energy level up. These are all things that cost money, but it's all things that I think help to the quality of the show. Right down to ambulances. We keep two at each show. Because if a guy was to get injured and the ambulance leaves, we can't start our show again until another ambulance is present. So I usually keep two on premise. And God forbid if something happens and one has to leave, we don't have to really break our action because there's another one already there. So, there's all kind of little things that people don't really think about or see, and that, go into, putting these shows together.
Gotcha. Now in the future, obviously you guys are fairly young, compared to what else is out there. Do you have any intentions? Do you have any intentions on having champions at any weight classes in the future?
People ask that all the time. I do. I'm trying to think of a way to make it make sense. Now that I've had Dan and he's won like 4 in a row, or 5 in a row actually, then maybe I start looking at doing one in that weight class. I'm hoping for the belts to mean something. My frequency of events is only 2 per year, so it would make it tough, on right. Doing it. Maybe we can even have a tournament style, where one show, we're doing like eliminations for a certain weight class and things like that. I'd love to do it. I'm just trying to figure out the feasibility, of doing it and not making it like a lot of promotions could tell you, hey, this is for a belt. You got a guy 1 and 4 fighting their hometown hero, for a title fight, and it happens over and over and over again. I'm hoping that, when we finally do belts, I'd like that, I do have the plan to do them. Just need to figure out how do I ascertain who deserves that title shot. Once your champions are established, then it makes it a little bit easier. Because he's here, and now you just find him a guy worthy as an opponent to come in and take him on for the title. But I want him to mean something, so I don't want to just say, hey, here's our 145-pound champ, boom, hey, Ryan Mackin, you're the champ.
Right.
If Ryan's the champ, it'll be because he earned the belt, not because we gave it to him.
Gotcha. Now, right now you guys are on TV with Comcast Sportsnet. Is that just a regional deal? Is that national, or are you looking to go national?
What? If we can go national, awesome. Our regional deal is with the Mid-Atlantic region. Comcast lost their deal with Fox. So now other areas are looking for, additional programming. So our rep that we deal with in the Bethesda office is, she's not really a rep. She's one of the bosses down there. But, she's talked to her equivalents in several other regions about possibly airing the show. So, we've heard like in the Midwest almost, like in the Chicago area, that they were interested. We've heard in the Texas area that they're interested. So, yeah, if we could make it nationwide, that would be phenomenal, But, part of the drawback for them is that, if we had Texas fighters on the card, Texas would carry it in a heartbeat. If I had Chicago fighters on the card, Chicago fighters, you know what I mean? The Chicago TV stations would carry it in a heartbeat. So, but for me as a promoter, I can't just be flying people in from all over the place who nobody knows, because now I'm paying for travel, I'm paying for hotel rooms, I'm paying their fight purses, and that guy's not going to draw me one single fan because nobody knows who he is yet. You know what I mean? So, the reason this is a Mid-Atlantic show is because I draw from fighters in this region who in turn can bring their friends in support of them. Since we lack, the Rampage Jacksons of the world on our card who you can advertise, and then, hey, several thousand people might come to see Rampage because when are they going to get to see him otherwise? That's not the case here. Ryan Mackin's on the card, and Ryan Mackin's a Maryland resident, so he grew up in Columbia. He's got friends over that way, coaches at a high school. So maybe 100 of Ryan's friends are coming with him. Micah Terrell's a big ticket seller. There's another guy, you know what I'm saying? So if I just advertised Micah Terrell and we went into Chicago, nobody knows who Micah is, are they going to come? But here in the Crofton area, his family's very well known, so that translates to people coming to buy tickets. And then when they see the fight poster up and they see the picture of Dave Denecki or Micah Terrell or Marshall Thompson, some of their friends could possibly see that poster and go, oh, man, I didn't know he was fighting. So now they're going to contact them or they're going to call Ticketmaster and get tickets. So, that's the main reason that we draw so many people from this region is just financially. In order for me to continue to do what I'm doing, we need guys that are going to, that are able to sell tickets. If asses aren't in the seats, that's an expensive show to put on. And, if we're forced to, then we'd have to downsize it. And then you become, not so special. When I still take care of everybody, great, of course. Will we do a good job, of course. But, the cachet of fighting at First Mariner Arena, which is, the premier venue in Baltimore, the cachet of being on TV and fighting in front of, 4.6 million people guaranteed in your coverage area, not to mention anybody that has a sports package has the ability to see you throughout the country. It's a big deal, so it adds an air of legitimacy to the show. You're going to have 5,000 people in the stands. Where else are you getting that? The DC UFC, the last one only did 7,000 people. So, it's a big, it's a huge opportunity for you to fight in front of your family, friends, and to fight in front of a high number of people so that when you make that step to the next level, you've been there before and you've kind of done it before. Or can we recreate the nerves of a UFC? Probably not. But, we're pretty close. I know when Donald Cerrone came here the first couple times, he was like, dude, I'm telling you, this is better than every WEC I've ever fought on, unless it was in, Sacramento when Uriah Faber was fighting, you know what I'm saying? When he used to be their big draw. Half of these other shows they did, he's going, this show's bigger than any WEC I've been on.
Yeah, and
so that kind of stuff means, obviously makes me feel good. I just hope that the fighters, they get spoiled until they fight elsewhere. You know what I mean? And then it's like, holy hell. Like Dan Root, we fought at another show over the summertime. It was basically out in the barn, and Dan's dressing room that he was sharing with everybody really was almost like curtain partitions set up, and that was it. They didn't have walls, there was no bathroom, nothing. So, Dan was like, man, you don't know how spoiled I am, from fighting on Shogun all the time. But, it's the reality of it. And I'm not trying to down these other places. I'm just saying, we're going above and beyond to make the experience great for the fans, the fighters, the coaches, everybody. So I hope that the people continue to turn out so that we can continue to do this type of a quality show.
Yeah, exactly. And you just mentioned Cowboy Cerrone, and actually him and Renzo Gracie will be at your next fights October 20th, which is this Saturday. Who else should we be looking out for that's actually fighting on the card?
There's lots of guys fighting on the card. We got 11 fights. If you want to, know guys that I think around here that are up-and-comers, we try to put most everybody on there that's going to be an up-and-comer. My goal is to get these guys up to the next level, and in turn, that's going to make more fighters going to want to come here because they're going to see us, pumping out quality fighters. But, let's see, Marshall Thompson, is a fan favorite. Marshall's 3-0, and he had a war with Amir Haken the last one, and he's actually fighting a kid from Chicago, Ryan Berry. Andy Alec is a new guy from my school, from Ground Control. He's a kid that has several amateur MMA belts. He's got a WKA national Muay Thai title, and he's making his pro debut. He's young, 23 years old, good stand-up, good jiu-jitsu. So I really believe Addy's a guy that can make it to the next level. Brent Hess, another tough kid. He's 2-0 with us. At the last show, he had a highlight reel knockout over his opponent, Steve Baker. And the kid that he's fighting is another kid. Like, he was recommended to me, actually. Christian Leonard is his opponent's name. Kid's, undefeated as an amateur, has 3 different amateur titles. He was 6-1 as a kickboxer. And all of his wins are by submission. So he's a well-rounded guy. Has kickboxing experience and solid jiu-jitsu. And he looks the part. The kid's in shape, a good-looking kid, young kid. So him and Brent should be a nice fight. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some of the other guys. David Perez and Cole Presley. Dave is a guy who's been on 2 Shoguns. He's 1-1. He's getting ready to fight Cole Presley. Cole is actually 1-2 in Shogun, and wrongly so. The Brian Van Hoven fight, he lost. He lost the decision. He won the first round, got tired, and lost. The second fight with Jason Morris, very close fight. I thought Cole won the fight. You can make an argument that Jason won the fight. So he lost a split decision. His next fight, he fought Vaja Yormhashvili, who is another tough local kid, and he finished Vaja. So this fight, he's fighting David Perez. Cole always has fought in a nice fight. So he fought Brian Van Hoven. It was like the funniest fight you ever seen. He fought Jason Morris. It was a 15-minute war. The kids were going back and forth, back and forth. He fought Vaja. If you saw a Rampage slam Arona in the triangles, Vaja slammed Cole not once but twice, and Cole still hung on and finished him with it. So, dude's always exciting. He's a nice guy. He's a guy to watch. Ryan Mackin, obviously, he's a guy to watch. Ryan, I believe, is 4-1 off the top of my head. And he's getting ready to fight Kid Cody Baker out of Clint's Academy in Frederick. Clint's a very tough gym. Cole Presley's out of that gym. The Kerwin brothers, Joey and Jacob, who have both fought on Shogun and in Bellator, are both from that gym. So it's another nice quality gym. Micah Terrell out of Crofton, BJJ. He's fighting Kyle Sefcek. Kyle used to be at the Frederick Fight Club. Now he owns his own gym in Mount Airy. Both of these guys, well-rounded fighters. While Micah prefers to stand and bang, Kyle's, is a guy, again, well-rounded, but likes to grapple. So, we'll see how that one goes. Nate Greb is another guy from Crofton, PJJ. He's fighting the kid Ruben Martinez from the Eastern Shore. Nate, well-rounded, good striker, and on the ground, solid purple belt. I don't know if he's got his brown yet. Ruben has boxed professionally, has fought MMA professionally, has solid wrestling and boxing, and obviously working on his jiu-jitsu. I'm excited for this one because Nate has a tendency when you hit him to want to hit you back instead of just trying to take you down. Like, he's that guy that can get drawn into a slugfest, and both of these guys like to throw their hands. So, when I do the matchups, these are the kind of things I try to keep in mind. Hoping that it'll be a fan favorite, a fan friendly fight when they fight. Dave Denecki fighting Najim Wali. Dave, I believe, is 4-1 in Shogun. He's coming off a torn ACL. He's fighting Najim. Najim's undefeated. Najim is now this is a striker versus grappler. Dave's a wrestler, jiu-jitsu guy. Najim is a striker, so he wants to keep it standing and keep it in his favor there. And let's see, Dan Root. There's a lot of guys on the card. Dan Root and Brian Van Hoven. Dan Root is on a 5-fight win streak. Brian Van Hoven's fought for Shogun before and won. Brian's a veteran of probably about 15 or 20 fights. He's fought in Bellator, I believe. And, Brian and Dan are meeting. It's a very good matchup because they're very similar. Both, in your face, ground and pound, take you down and wear you out kind of fighters. And Cole Presley actually lost to Brian Van Hoven, when they fought. So, just to give you an idea. And then the main event on the card is going to be Frankie Lester versus Caleb Ball. Frankie Lester, former guy from The Ultimate Fighter, fought in the UFC, super tough. We all saw him get his teeth knocked out. They stuck in his mouthpiece. And then what did he do? He changed his mouthpiece and kept fighting. Frankie's a guy who prefers to stand and bang, but he's got solid wrestling defense, been trained with Dan Henderson out in Team Quest for quite a few years now. And his jiu-jitsu solid as well. And Caleb's beast. Like, I've seen this guy fight several times, watched several of his fights online. He had a great fight in Argentina. He actually went to the country of Argentina, fought their local stud. The guy put it on Caleb for one round. Caleb come back in the second and then wound up finishing the guy in the third. He's out of Washington, D.C., works, government worker, military type of guy, very business-like. I like him. He's cool to deal with. Solid, very tough fighter. I want to say Caleb's record's like 8-3. And, he's a guy getting ready to make that step to the next level. So a win over Frankie, gives Caleb, a nice push to possibly take the next step. And Frankie beating Caleb gives him a step back to getting back to the UFC.
Yeah, like you said, when you guys are doing 2 cards a year, it allows you to load up on quality and to take your time with the matches that you want and put out the quality product that you guys do. I also think, like I said, I compared you guys to pre-Zuffa Strike Force. The UFC's never come to Baltimore before, and I think it has a large part to do with the foothold that you have here. For a long time, UFC avoided San Jose because of what Strike Force was doing there. Do you think that's what's going on here?
Well, there's a couple things that are going on here. I think first and foremost, it's there's a 10% entertainment tax here in the state of Maryland. That entertainment tax keeps a lot of events from coming here and pushes them to Philly or to D.C. The UFC said they would come here. They told me that themselves. When I was getting MMA legalized here, they sent their lawyer to one of the I believe the Senate meeting, and they sent Mark Ratner to the delegate meeting. But each time they sent representatives, to help them, help us lobby and speak for us when we went, on the floor to present our bills. And when I talked to them, that was basically the number one holdback is the 10% tax. So if we can get that tax capped, or if we can make the, make the number make sense, then it would make sense for them to come here. But if they come here and they sell 14,000 digits and sell the arena out, which I really believe it would be a sellout if they came. Let's just say for shits and giggles, they do $2.5 million at the door. $250,000 comes right off the top and goes to this 10% tax. So it's a hard nut to swallow. There's lots of places that don't have a tax. Other places may have a 5% tax, and that does scare some business away. So any concert that comes here, they're paying that bill. Some people will come here because their demographics here. The UFC's told me the same thing. They feel that ratings warrant, that they come here based on, the strength of the ratings on their TV shows and their pay-per-views. So, hopefully one day that can happen.
Gotcha. Just one more, John, and I'll let you go. I really appreciate the time. Just what can we expect from the future in Shogun fights? I mean, do you guys have your business plan mapped out for down the line?
Yeah, I think next year you may see some different things going on. We're still going to do our spring and fall show. I'm looking at possibly starting some amateur stuff here. So, you may see us do some amateur shows that'll help be a feeder into our bigger shows. The other thing is I've had, I don't want to, give away what's going down, but, I have people contact me, fairly regular too, and see if I would be interested in doing shows at this venue or that venue. So I've had 2 people from out of state call me, possibly one in February and the other one will be November of next year. But, about maybe coming to their places and, helping them put a show on or they basically bring us there and pay us to put the show on for them. So, for me and for Shogun, whether those events are called Shogun or not, I'd have to make that determination the closer we get. But, it's probably going to be to pick up the frequency, but by doing some smaller shows and then still stick with our 2 big shows a year at the arena. I think they're cool. I think they're great. I think it would give guys on the smaller shows something to shoot for and to aspire to. And, then if that's a high-quality show where, we can hopefully turn out some pro fighters again that, that can make it to that next level.
Gotcha. So the show's this Saturday, October 20th, Baltimore Arena. What time are your doors?
Doors are at 6, and the show starts at 7. There's 11 fights on the card, and obviously Enzo and Cowboy will be there. And
where can people get tickets?
You can go to our website is where 90% of the information is, www.shogunfights.com. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook. I think it's at shogunfights.com. On Facebook, it's the Shogun Fights. And then, you can get them at Ticketmaster, or you can get them at the First Mariner Arena.
That'll work, John. That's all I have. I appreciate your time, and I'll be seeing you Saturday.